So I'm kinda new to Minecraft. I've only been playing for a year and a half. All of it was in survival mode. I've always admired those people who can make it 1,000 days in a hardcore world, build the craziest stuff, and accomplish the most awesome things. So we figured, why not try it myself? I mean, how hard could it be? So I loaded up a new world and I spawned in. So it was a really exciting feeling the first time in a brand new world. I mean, endless possibilities to explore, countless ways to die. I'm excited for all of it. Okay, maybe except the dying part. Day 0, here we go. I had a quick look around to see what I could find besides sand, and it wasn't much. So I started walking due north in the hopes of finding a village in a less sandy place. My plan was to settle close to a village, so I could have a reasonably easy start. And once I got settled in, my next plan of action would be a villager breeder, so I can earn some easy emeralds. Besides finding a cool spot to build a base, I have a few other goals for this episode. Like getting an easy source of food, maybe get some villagers to trade with, and I'd like some diamonds for a weapon and some armor. And a bow would be good. A good enchanted bow could really help me. I would need all this and more to prepare for the ultimate challenge, to beat the Ender Dragon in hardcore mode. So let's get started. The first thing I found was some sugarcane. Shortly after that I punched a fish to death. When this act of violence was done, I took down my first tree and I made some tools. I gathered some food I was walking around and I continued my way. A bit later I came across a shipwreck on a beach. One chest held lots of gold and iron nuggets I could use. Another chest had some paper and a treasure map. Off to a really good start. A bit further on I found a ruined portal with some gold equipment and some more iron and golden nuggets. Man, at this rate I was getting rich. Since I didn't want to be out here when night came around, I killed some sheep for wool. And I dug a small hole on the side of a hill, where I could stay safe for the night. Inside I mined a bit of stone and some coal so I could upgrade my tools and make some torches. Found a big ass coal vein inside, so I dug it all out and I cooked all the meat I collected. I dug a bit further into the hill hoping I would find some iron, but no such luck. But luckily I had enough already to craft an iron chestplate and an iron axe, so if I would stumble upon some enemy mobs, I wouldn't immediately kick the bucket. After some further digging I heard some zombie noises and I found a cave. Too scared to enter, I made a 1-block hole to check what was going on inside. So the zombie I heard, he beelined for my location upon spotting me. Fucking laser guided missiles they are. I killed it, but when a skeleton started shooting at me I backed the fuck out of there. I didn't want to die on my first day. I mined through the night, and when day 1 started, I was still digging like a good little dwarf. While digging further down, I found another copper vein. I really like copper to build with, so most of the times I try to mine it all out and take it with me. But this vein had something I'd never seen before. There was a raw copper block part of the vein. After checking the wiki I found out it was a very rare occurrence and not a bug or some other weirdness. I dug a bit more, but I couldn't really find anything of value. Since I was a bit tired of all this mining, I slept. When the morning of day 2 came around, I headed to the surface to sort out my inventory and smelt the ores I found. After collecting all my valuables, I set out to explore some more. It would be ideal if I could find a nice place close to a village to build a house. Not long after leaving, I came across a river and I sailed further on. I found a stony shore and I stopped to see if I could find some stuff to mine. Here I found some copper and lots of coal, which you can never have enough of, especially in the beginning. It turned night pretty quick, and since I didn't want to get eaten, I slept right there on the shore. When day 3 started out, I mined some more. Some coal, some copper, even a bit of iron. This was going pretty well. When I was done mining, I got back to exploring. I found some cows walking around, and since I can always use the ladder, sorry cows. Further ahead, I found a bit of an open cave with some iron ore, some coal, a creeper, some more iron and some more copper. It was again turning night, so I slept in the open. Day 4 started. I was on the move again. I hadn't found a good place to settle yet, so I'd have to keep looking. A while later, I'd noticed I got some raw pork chops in my inventory. Yay, free food! Not even 20 seconds later, I spot something that looks like a village. I hopped down from the mountain, forgetting I didn't have enchanted boots on. Oh well, it was just a scratch. I made my way into the village to see what was on offer. First house was the butcher's house. It had some meat laying around, so I cooked it and some of my own food, and I went on to the next house. It had some more food and some seeds I could use to get a little farm going. Also, those hay bales who were laying around, they needed to be liberated, so I had to set them free. This small village didn't have much to offer besides a cartographer, a butcher and probably a farmer or two somewhere. So I got up on the hill the village was almost built into and I found a farmer and some other villagers hanging around. Day 5 started. When I woke up, those 3 villagers from earlier, they were standing around my bed, being kinda creepy. I made my way back into the village to collect the meat I put in the smoker earlier, had a walk through town, and I sailed a bit further on. My plan was to build somewhere close enough so that I could transport villagers to my place. Plus, I really like this terrain with all the canyons and the rivers. The only downside here are the caves everywhere. Gotta be careful when digging down. So I found a place to build close by. I flattened an area on the ridge to build. I want to build a house with a bit of a view here, so this was a really great place. I also put some torches down around because I really don't want creepers on my doorstep. When walking around placing torches, I saw how dangerous this terrain really was. I should be really careful here. I've already started a little camp with a furnace and some chests up on the ridge to get things going, so I was feeling happy to have finally found my place. Day 6 has me digging around the campsite, finally crafting an iron pick and doing some more strategic torch placing. While doing this, I noticed 2 big ass caves really close by. One across the water and the other one just below. The one across the way could be covered up, that would be no problem, but the other one would be more difficult to deal with. When I came back to my camp, I noticed it was raining. So I took up my stuff and moved down a bit into the savannah area. This would block my view a bit, but I wouldn't have to endure the rain. While moving my stuff to the less rainy place, I found another cavern of death. Those needed to be covered up sooner rather than later, or I would be dead. Day 7 I was greeted with a rainbow after the hideous rain from last night. I decided to check out the terrain a bit more, since I already found a few possible death traps. When entering one hole in the ground, I found an enormous underground cavern going very deep. I saw a zombie that came up and I knocked him off the ledge just for fun. And then I left. There was nothing to get here for now, so I blocked off the exit with cobblestone so nothing would come out. I cleared a bit more space and started laying out the foundation for my house. It looked pretty good with the hill as a background. When I got it all cleared out, I terraformed the immediate surrounding terrain to make it a bit safer. Day 8 kicked off with some building and some tree chopping. I decided to go back to the little village to loot a bit more, since I couldn't take everything the last time I was there. When I was done looting, I decided to check out a cave I found. There wasn't anything of value really. But when I went further in, I found some zombies and some running baby zombies, so I got the hell out of there. I didn't want to die now. I jumped into the water and I watched them burn to death. Since it was close to night time, I ran back to my camp to get some sleep. I woke up on day 9 with the intention of getting things done on the starter house and the farm. So I made a little pad down the hill and started a small farm. The idea was to start out with a wheat farm for bread, and later on when I had a cow farm I could use to feed him. When I was busy close to my house, I heard a skeleton rattling. It wasn't above ground, so I figured there must be a cave below. I didn't want to build my house on top of a cave with mobs, it would be too noisy. I tried to find it by digging a hole, but I eventually gave up and I used free cam to locate it. Turns out it was down in the ravine I walked past a few times. Eventually the zombie came up to greet me and he died by the axe. Turns out he wasn't alone, so I blocked off the path up. Back at the house that wasn't built yet, I heard the sounds of a witch, who was probably holed up underground. This really did it for me. It was time to move my house again. I mean, I couldn't even sleep here because there were mobs nearby. On day 10 I got busy relocating. Again. I tore down the part of my base I already built. Kinda fed up I had to move again. When I turned around, there was a villager patrol coming my way. Just my luck. I ran away, because I knew I wouldn't be able to take them all on. So I made my way over to the other side of the river and I gathered some jungle wood, which I would be needing for my build anyway. When the sun began setting, I made my way home. I egged a few chickens on the way and I got home safely. On day 11 I began with terraforming the land. I created a small hill where my house would come. With a small farm going and a place to build, I was feeling happy to have finally found my place in this world. I couldn't wait for what the future would bring. A large part of day 11 I spent gathering dirt. That was done, I started placing blocks to get an idea of size. I don't plan my builds ahead of time, so building it will take some time, because I like to try different ideas to see what fits. Of course I got distracted again, this time by the gorgeous night sky. I did a little more building after I was finally done procrastinating. The morning of day 12 arrived, and with it came a bunch of villagers. After playing a bit of peekaboo with them, I decided I wasn't taking any chances, so I left pretty quick. Oh well, it would give me the opportunity to gather some more jungle wood for my build. And that's about what I did for day 12. When I got back, the villagers were gone, so I continued building through the night. When the sun rose on day 13, I noticed I was almost out of birchwood. So I dumped my stuff in a chest and I set out to find some more. Since the patch of savanna biome I lived in bordered forest biome, I didn't have to travel far. After chopping down some trees, I had enough to finish my floor, so I continued to build my little house. You probably noticed by now it's gotta be a mostly wooden house. I wanted to fit into the savanna biome. Plus I never really tried to combine multiple wood types, so that was a good excuse to do it. It was starting to look more like a house now. Just had to get the walls and the roof done. My plan for the roof was to make it out of deep slate blocks with a regular stone trim. This would nicely complement the lighter colors of the building. The rest of the day I spent building and mining. Since I needed stone and deep slate, I started a traditional Minecraft staircase down into the earth. Here I spent the night mining, and when I got back to the surface on day 14, I worked some more on my house. It was coming along nicely. It was almost time to get started working on the roof. And when day 15 came around, I heard a zombie moaning close by. Apparently a zombie villager has spawned underground somewhere, so my first instinct was to catch him in a boat for later. But he died, so yeah, there's that. I went into the cave the zombie villager was in. There was a shitload of copper ore, but it was a very deep and dangerous cave, so I didn't go too far in. I have to put it on my list for later. For now I covered the hole so I wouldn't fall in. With that done, I continued building my house. There's this neat little trick to keep mobs from knocking down your doors. You just place the door sideways instead of in the doorway. I tried to combine it with a pressure plate on the inside to close the door automatically. That didn't work now. I kinda figured it would happen, but I want to try it anyway. Continued working on my house, and when night fell, I went into the mines to gather some more stuff. I like stuff. When day 16 started, I went up to the surface to dump off the stuff I found. After digging around a bit, I went back into the mines. This time, my plan was to gather deep slate for the roof. When digging down, I found a cave around Y level 10. I really wanted to gather the iron and the copper I saw, but I was scared it would end badly, so I went in very carefully. This was a cave with a lot of different tunnels snaking off in every direction, so I knew at some point I would come across enemy mobs. But that didn't stop me from mining all the ores I could find. I went deeper into the cave until I reached a cavern that was insanely deep. There was some skulk at the bottom, so I wasn't going in there right now. I turned back and I mined some more iron and other stuff in a safer spot. On day 17 I spent a lot of time underground, mining some more deep slate so I can finally finish my house. When I got bored of that, I did some more building. I really want to get this house done. On day 18 I finally started on the roof. I messed around a bit with different blocks, but I really liked the idea of deep slate combined with copper. Day 19 I spent working on the roof. On day 20 I started with a bit of building, and after I got bored of that I got to exploring. I was hoping to find 2 cows to make a cow crusher. I could really use the stake and the ladder. First cow I found really quickly, the second one was more difficult to find, so I went back home to spend the night building some more. Day 21 I searched for and found another cow. I brought it back home and I admired what I built so far. Sure, I have a very disorganized way of building, but the results look pretty good. The rest of the day I spent decorating the place. Oh, and I have a wandering trader as a roommate now. On day 22 I woke to a sound of the trader slurping. I couldn't have that noise in my house, so I pushed his ass out. Then I went off and collected a ton of jungle wood. And when I got back, I started on the cow crusher. The way this farm works is pretty easy. You lure 2 cows in a 1-block hole and then you breed them. Because Minecraft only allows up to 25 entities per block, the rest automatically expires. So long story short, breed the cows, get free meat and leather. Building the farm wasn't much of a challenge, but getting the cows in a one block hole, that was a tricky part. Since I couldn't get them both in, I had to make a baby cow and I pushed that in the hole. Farm completed. It will take some time to fill up, but when it's up and running, it will get me loads of meat and leather. Day 24 I spent working on the house. It was mostly done, but it needed some details here and there. At night I caught an underman in a boat. I found him relaxing on the top of a tree. He wasn't an easy catch, but I managed to kill him eventually. Day 25 I was planting back some trees I chopped down earlier. What I thought would be a quick task turned into something a little more dangerous when a creeper showed up. When I was assessing the hole the creeper made, I saw a zombie come my way. After dealing with it, I turned my attention to the skeletons, having a meeting a bit further away. I pulled one away from the group, so I wouldn't get completely peppered with arrows. But when I turned around while running away, I ran straight in the arms of a zombie. Not the soft warm embrace I was looking for at that moment. After that heroic moment, I made my way back home to think about my next step. I didn't really plan this all out in advance, but I did have some ideas I wanted to try. And since my house was done, I could get started on my first idea. As you might have seen by now, I already planted some bamboo. My plan was to turn it into sticks, which I could treat with a fletcher for some emeralds. It's one of the easiest ways of getting emeralds early game. So my plan was to gather 2 villagers for a villager breeder. In the long run the plan was to use those villagers that come out to make a villager trading area. I decided to make this villager breeder underground, so on day 26 I got started with clearing out some space. I had most of the materials I needed to build the breeder. The only thing I couldn't make was a dispenser. I needed a bow to make one, and I didn't have any at the moment. Day 27 I had a bit of an off day. I didn't really feel like doing anything, so I just chilled and explored a bit. The only thing remotely noteworthy is that I made an automatic composter. On day 28 I checked the nearby village to see if there were any villagers left alive. I forgot to lock them into their houses when I first came here, so they were probably all dead. Villager AI is not programmed for self-preservation at all. I found one villager left alive. The fence around his house probably saved his ass. I gave him a fletcher job and traded some sticks with him. And I got some bows from him, so now I got all the materials for the villager breeder. Well, besides villagers. At night, when I was placing some more torches, I nearly fell down a hole. I got so incredibly lucky. Falling here would mean dead for sure. On day 29 I traded some more with the villager. My stack of emeralds was slowly growing. Also I put him in a boat to make sure he wouldn't wander off, because I would need him for later. Back at my house I made a small wall to create a bit of a garden area on one side of my house. I wanted to look a bit more developed and less wild than the surrounding area. And the stone wall fits nicely with a mostly wooden house. Now just a few flowers to add some color and it's done. On day 30 I started work on the actual villager breeder. Turned out I had all the materials I needed besides dirt. Who would have thought I forgot something like that? So I dug up a stack of dirt and I got back to the little hole in the ground I made for my villagers. When I was creating the exits for the baby villagers, I forgot I was building on top of a cave. Luckily I landed in the water, otherwise the series would be over before it even started. It was day 31 when I finally finished my villager farm. Now all I had to do was get 2 villagers in there and make the magic happen. On day 32 I got my first villager. I grabbed the guy from the village nearby of course. But for the second villager I would need to find another village sadly. Since I wasn't really prepared for all this traveling and fighting, I made me a shield. It might come in handy later. As a quick side note, the last few days I have been feeding and breeding the cows and the cow squisher. So now they have reached maximum capacity, it's finally paying dividends. Meat and leather for days. Day 33 came around, and I figured it was time to travel to another village to nab me another villager. I've set sail to the north, but in my infinite wisdom I forgot to bring a bed, so I'm left sailing in the dark looking for a village. I did spot a pillager tower not too far away from my base. Might be a good idea to come back later for some totems. Oh man, when I was boating along, I stopped to get some wool and craft a bed. But then I got jumped by a creeper which blew my boat up. I wasn't prepared for this at all, so I stumbled a bit, but thankfully I survived. Day 34 starts and I'm far from home, without a village in sight. But I was hopeful I would find one this day. What I did find was some sugarcane, which would come in handy later on. A bit later, I came across a mountain, from where I thought I might be able to spot a village. And no such luck. Damn. So I continue my journey by boat. It leads me through some really pretty ravines though. I was loving this terrain. On day 35, I finally got lucky. I found a village in the desert, so now it's time to get me a villager. I mean, relocate a villager. Like, you know, give him a new home. Day 36 rolls around, and it's time to go home. With the diamonds I found and that villager in the back of my boat, I'm all set. Not even 100 blocks from the village, I find a ruined nether portal. Since I've got those diamonds, I figured why not make a diamond pick and mine all the obsidian. Early in the morning of day 37, I'm still trying to get this villager home. I want him to get over this mountain and back into the boat, and it's going pretty well considering these villagers are dumber than a bag of rocks. I finally got the villager home and in his hole. The only thing I'm missing now is crops. I either need carrots or potatoes to get this show going, so it's time to hunt for some veggies. Since I've already been to 2 villages who didn't have any, I'd have to go out further. But then I got distracted again, this time by an abandoned mineshaft that held some goodies I could use for later builds. So day 39 and 40 I spent sailing. I figured if I wouldn't find a village, I would try the shipwrecks for some veggies. 2 or 3 shipwrecks later and I found a dozen carrots. Finally I could finish my villager breeder. Day 41 started on the bottom of the ocean. Apparently it's no problem sleeping down here. And after some more sailing, I finally made it back home. Time to feed the cows and get the carrots growing. At night I went mining and I accidentally fell into a cave. To my surprise, there was a big ass cavern underground with skulk in it. I've mined some iron and some gold here, but because I didn't feel safe, I left pretty quickly. On day 42 I was once again underground, mining towards Y level 59 for those precious diamonds. I got lucky and I found 3 near a lava stream. That's where my luck ran out, because I mined all day and night without finding any more diamonds. I went up to the surface when the morning of day 43 came around. I fed the cows, traded with one of my villagers and attended to my crops. Though it's boring, a bit of housekeeping is necessary now and then. Plus, I'm still trading the sticks for emeralds, so it's basically free money. On day 44 I made a temporary nether portal, check things out on the other side. I don't like going to the nether without decent gear, because there's too much chance to get totally wrecked if I'm not careful. but I'm just too curious to how it looks on the other side, so I have to go. The portal location in the Nether is not the best. It's surrounded by lots of lava on all sides, and sadly there isn't a fortress or a bastion in sight. So, after getting some of the red warp wood and a few other bits, I got back to the overworld. It's much safer there. On day 45, I tended to my crops and fed the cows in the cow crusher. I worked the whole day around the house to get enough crops to get my villager breeder going and to get enough leather to make books. I got 9 bookshelves already, so only a few more. Day 46, I got the villager breeder working after a few mistakes and one escape attempt. At least, I think it works. We'll see within a few days if it does or not. Then I made the entrance to the villager breeder a little bit nicer. And I might have to do the same for the cow crusher, but I'll get to that later. I did a little bit of terraforming to clean the place up and prepare for some more building. My idea was to create a build for my enchanting table, and who knows what else I could fit in there. I like to have this house a bit elevated, just like the other one. It stands out a bit more in this hilly terrain, but that means a lot of terraforming needs to be done. At this point I have enough leather and paper to make the books to get the bookshelves needed. Same for the materials for an enchanting table, so now I could start thinking about building a place to house it. Day 84 came around, and since I had planned out my build beforehand, the only thing I needed to do was get the materials. My first step is to get some spruce wood and some diorite. On day 49 and 50 I was chopping down all the spruce trees I could find. I would need about 6 stacks of spruce log, so I would be busy for quite a while. On day 51 I got all the spruce I needed. At least I think. So now it's time to find the dark oak forest. After some sailing around I found a biome with the dark oak trees and the big red mushrooms. So day 52 was spent cutting all those trees down. With my inventory full, it was time to get home. But it would take quite a while, because I'm about 1400 blocks out, and quite frankly, I'm a bit lost. It took me the rest of the day to get home. When I got back, I dug out some andesite for my build. After I had gathered a bit, I continued deeper into the mine to maybe find some diamonds. And I got as much as I would expect, which is exactly 0. As day 54 came rolling around, I decided to go back to the surface and start on my build. Seems I'm missing some dirt, so it's time to dig a hole. On day 55 I did just that. I got some more dirt, but I still need more. Might have gone a bit overboard with this build. Well, at least it's keeping me busy. Since I need a ton of stripped dark oak logs, I will be stripping logs for a while. A pro tip for stripping logs is put the logs in the offhand and the eggs in the other, and hold down both mouse buttons while looking at the ground before you. I'm not sure if it's the quickest method, but it seems to work for me. Day 58 and 9 I did a lot of building. I gathered most of the materials in advance, so I'm gonna use this as an excuse to make a time lapse. I've always wanted to make one of these. While building I got pestered by phantoms, and I had a random trader show up. He didn't have any good trades, and of course he got stuck immediately. With the first floor done, it was on to the second floor. Block of choice was diorite, one of the most loved blocks in the game, I'm sure. But apparently I didn't have enough spruce wood, so I decided to plant a few close to base, feed him some bone meal and chop them down. I tried to contain the podzol so it wouldn't spread, but no such luck. I'll have to dig that up later. For now I really need the spruce wood. Day 60 is spent building and chopping down more trees. Damn, what did I start? I got attacked by a lone pillager. First I tried to lure him into a hole, because I didn't want to deal with the bad omen debuff. But he didn't want to go in the hole, so I decided to kill him. This decision was one of the worst I made this series. This would haunt me for some time. After I got more than a stack of oak logs, I continued building. Apparently the small hill I flattened has turned into a mob party because I forgot to put torches down. On day 62 I'm mostly done with the outside of my house, except for the glass windows. I'll need to get some sand later, but first I'm gonna get a floor in and move the enchanting table inside. I wanted to get some basalt from the nether, but I couldn't find any close by. So I'm gonna try the red warped wood as a floor. Also, I don't like hoglins, and I get the feeling that's mutual. On day 63 I finished the floor and I moved the enchanting table inside. Then I turned back to building some more. But that plan went down the drain as soon as I saw the raid bar pop up. First I figured I'd run away like any responsible grown-up would do. But then I figured screw it, so I fought and killed 4 raiders. At that point the raid bar showed there were 2 raiders left, but I couldn't find them anywhere. So I thought to check on my villagers at that point. Maybe the raiders would be attracted to them. I heard the remaining 2 raiders trying to hide on the cliffside. I shot him down into the water and jumped in after to kill him. Suddenly a horn rang out in the distance. Oh damn, here comes the next wave. While getting pestered by phantoms, I ran inside to sleep quickly, just to get rid of that extra threat. When I ran out, 1 raider came at me, and I saw the other one go into my farm. Turns out he got stuck down there. Dummy. He fell into the water stream, and the rest I couldn't find at that point. Unsure on what was going on with the raid at that point, I left my base to gather some more materials. I found some clay, some copper and some sand to make glass. A lead would come in handy if we'd ever find a horse, so I got 2 from a wandering trader. Thanks buddy. And in my infinite wisdom, I forgot to record days 65 to 67. Thankfully nothing exciting happened. On day 68 I figured I might be able to kill the raider stuck on my villager farm. When he was taken care of, I found out the rest of them was down in the cavern underneath the farm. So I made another bad decision and I killed them. This of course led to the next wave, which included a ravager. That's something I didn't foresaw. I killed a raider who was blocking my door and then I got safely inside. Here the ravager couldn't get me. I killed a few other raiders from the safety of my doorway, but I wasn't planning on going outside with the ravager there. Big boy trampled my wheat field and made sure I couldn't leave my house. So now I'm kinda stuck inside while the ravager is outside together with a witch and another raider. I tried to kill it with my bow, but I ran out of arrows. The ravager he could kill me in 2 hits, so I gotta play this real safe. I neither ran to my boat and I sailed away like any sane person would do. I mean, what else could I do? I didn't have enough arrows to kill the ravager, and then there was the witch and the other raider. The next morning, on day funny number, I woke up on a stony shore with the intention to fight back to get the raid off my land, but I wasn't prepared for that at all. So I walked around searching for chickens, maybe I could make some arrows. I was on the lookout for other stuff I could use too, but I didn't find any. So, funny thing is, when I came back the next day, like the real life day, I kinda forgot what I was doing the day before. After I crafted some doors, I jumped into the water to mine some iron ore and some other good stuff. I dove deeper and deeper and mined all the stuff I could find. When I mined through a block, I saw a lava lake. First I thought it was a glitched chunk, but it turned out I mined into another cave. One part water and the other part lava. I went carefully down the waterfall I created. Of course I almost fell out. When I got down to the bottom, I discovered something very precious. On day 72 I was on my way home with a lot of good stuff. I had been mining for way too long, but I was so happy to have finally found diamonds. When I got back, it turned out the raid was expired, so no more waves of ravagers thankfully. After unloading my loot, I enchanted my bow and my axe. They weren't the best enchantments, but it'll do for now. On day 73 I made a temporary shelter for the 2 villagers that my villager farm produced. I made one a cartographer, figuring I could trade paper real easy. It's a bit expensive, but it'll do for now. The other one is gonna be a Fletcher. I'm hoping he gets his stick straight so he gets some more emeralds and XP. Day 74 brings me another villager. I want him to be a librarian, but I would like for him to have a good starter trade, so I had to break his jaw block a few times. I was lucky and I got the silk touch trade within a few minutes. Next one I'll try for is mending. After all that, I enchanted my diamond chest piece and I got protection 4 on it. Pretty lucky. Sometime later I tried to catch an enderman in a boat. But the dummy walked into the rain and he teleported out of here. But I did got one that was hiding on a tree. Day 75 starts out with putting down some flower pots in the enchantment building. At this point I didn't really have the inspiration to come up with what to do next, so I took a break for a few real life days. But when I returned I knew it had to be done. Get some Eyes of Ender, find a stronghold and kill the dragon. So that's why I put on my shiny new diamond armor and I went to the Nether. I went there for 2 reasons. One was to trade with the piglins for ender pearls, and the other reason was to try and find a fortress. I would need to find some blazes for the blaze powder needed to craft the Eyes of Ender. After trading almost 50 gold ingots, I didn't got a single ender pearl, but I did get 2 fire resistant potions, always handy when I come across blazes. Day 76 I returned home and I grabbed some more gold. I was hoping I would have some better luck now. I parted away about 100 gold ingots and I only got about 4 pearls in return. Okay, I did get some other good stuff, but I expected more. Ah well, I know of a green warp forest close by. There's a higher chance of enderman being there because no other mobs spawn there. So I accidentally angered one enderman and it got a bit hairy there. While hunting for more enderman, I came across a fortress. Pretty lucky find. On day 77 I went through the fortress really careful. I don't want to get ganged here by some weird skeletons. I did slay a few blazes, but I couldn't find the spawner. Oh well, I have 4 blaze rods, so I might need a few more, I'm not too sure. I kept going through the fortress and I finally found a blaze spawner. Sometime later I got all the blaze rods I need and got the hell out of there. Day 79, finally home. I unloaded my stuff and I made a brewing stand for the potions I would need for the battle ahead. But instead of preparing, I got distracted and started decorating a bit. I harvested my farm areas because I felt like it. Of course, I couldn't just farm in peace in the middle of the night, so I had to kill some phantoms. That wasn't really a problem, because I could use the phantom membranes. Day 80 started out with a bit of trading, and me debating whether I should get a second librarian. I'm not sure if I can reliably cycle his trades if there is another one close by. So I dickered around a bit and I did some more unplanned decorating. Well, for me placing down some plants inside counts as decorating. I had been procrastinating enough for now. So on day 81 I finally started with brewing some potions to help me fight the dragon. I needed some slow falling potions and some health potions. I had a few fire resistance potions, but I don't think those would help against the dragon. I just wish I had some gas tears to make some regen potions, but whenever I kill a ghast, it seems to drop into the lava. Talking about lava, I need some glowstone dust to upgrade my potions, so off to the Nether I go. I located some that wasn't 100 blocks above the lava, like a lot of it seems to be, and I went that way. So while I was busy making a stair up there, I got jump scared by a hoglin. I only heard his noise, I didn't even see him, but I ran down the stairs. I made a real quick don't touch me tower and I shot him with my bow. Threat neutralized carefully. I mean, I'm not scared. Who said I was scared? I mined the glowstone and I went back to the area my portal is. While creating some space around it, I got jump scared by 2 little hoglins. Yes, the grown man got scared by 2 baby piggies. I got back to the overworld in the night of day 82. Since I got sick of the constant phantom harassment, I went to bed and slept until the morning. Day 83 had me contemplating my ability, or lack thereof, of killing the dragon with the gear I had. It was still mostly unenchanted diamond gear with a golden helmet. It wasn't too bad, but it wasn't really where I wanted it to be. The thing is, I just underestimated how hard it would be to gain enough XP to enchant all my gear. Normally I would go to my mob farm and just get some XP the easy way, but I'll save that mob farm for another video. Day 84, I stocked up on potions and stuff I might need. Let's go find the stronghold and defeat the dragon. I threw my first Eye of Ender and it pointed toward the east. I walked all of day 84. I didn't get very far because I had to waste a lot of time cutting through a bamboo forest. Day 85 I'm still going eastward, through forest and into a badlands biome. And when I threw a pearl here, it pointed me more to the west, so I was hoping I was getting close, because I have only 7 pearls left. On day 86 I decided to dig down. I didn't have a lot of pearls left, so I just trial and error now. Accompanied by the moaning of zombies, I dug a spiral staircase down, careful not to fall into a cave below. But I couldn't find anything, which annoyed me to no end. Day 87, I was kinda let out that my first try didn't work, so I threw another pearl that I followed. And I decided to dive into a cave and try to mine down from there. I knew it was closer because of the pearl, but I didn't know how close. When mining down, I came upon some stone bricks. Finally found it. So I got the I Spy achievement and I went in further. Very carefully, of course. Because I am careful and not scared, not at all. After some wandering around, I found a library down there. Because I forgot to put silk touch on my axe, I couldn't take the bookcases. After that I found a chest with 2 diamonds in a partly destroyed hallway. It had a cave below, so I had to take care of some skeletons to get out. On day 88 I was still wandering around, looking for the room with the portal. I knew when I found the room with the torchbearer that it was close. And when I saw the spawner I knew I found it. Finally. Now the worst part is, there is only 1 Eye of Ender in the 12 slots. I have 7, so I'm gonna need 4 more. The best way to do this quickly is to tunnel out from here and sail back home. Then I'll head into the Nether Fortress to kill some blazes for blaze rods. Then I should be good to go. I was kinda annoyed with myself that I rushed to get here only to turn back around because I wasn't prepared enough. I made it to the surface and quickly slept. Now for finding my way home. I was about 1400 blocks out, so I might be able to make it in a day. Well, maybe not if I get distracted. And I did got distracted by a rune portal that had a gold block and some cool crying obsidian. I continued sailing and I came upon another rune portal I have already been to. There was a crossing here. I could go either left or right. I figured I should go right because it matched the most with the direction my house was. And it turned out to be a dead end, of course. So I went left and after a while I got home. Just in time for nightfall. See, I could make it in a day? I never had any doubts. I dumped off my stuff when I got home and I traded with the villagers for some XP. I need a bit of XP for enchanting my tools with those books I got. Plus now I could get silk touch on my axe. So I got my bow and my axe upgraded and I'm ready to kick some ass. Day 90 came around and I went on my nether adventure. It took a bit to get back to the fortress, but I found it eventually. So I found 1 blaze by accident, 1 more, and I am good to go. On day 91 I'm still searching this forsaken fortress of despair. I know there's a spawner somewhere, but this thing is a damn maze. Finally I saw one in the distance, and when I came closer I noticed a spawner not too far off. I killed a few more blazes, more than I need really, but hey, 3 blaze rods. With the goodie secured, I made my way back home. The morning of day 92, I left for battle. One look back at my tiny oasis of peace in a world that's trying to end my puny existence. After setting off in the wrong direction, I turned around, quite embarrassed, and I hoped that no one had seen that. After a lot of sailing, it turned night, so I quickly put my bed down and I slept. The next day I was still on my way back to the stronghold. Because the river stopped going my direction, I got out of my boat and I walked over a hill to be greeted by the Badlands island that held the stronghold. After wandering around some more, I spotted my beautiful cobblestone tower. I went down the rabbit hole into the stronghold to pop in the last Eyes of Ender and finally fight the dragon. It's happening, boys. After putting on my pumpkin hat, I jumped in the portal to the end. I dropped in right outside the ring of obsidian towers. Not wasting any time, I chugged down a slow falling potion and headed in to shoot the crystals from the towers. With my superior aim and my infinity bow, I took down all the crystals. Then I started peppering the dragon with arrows. When he came in for his first purge on top of the bedrock pillar, I tried to go in for some magic hits, but it didn't seem to work, and I couldn't see properly because of my dumb helmet. So I opted for the slow and boring method of just shooting the bastard, which means I wasted a ton of arrows to hit him. Most of them probably missed. That's why I got the infinity bow and not the mending one. Eventually he shuffled off his mortal coil and left me with a ton of XP, a dragon egg and his head. It was a bit anticlimactic after all the preparation it was, but I was elated nonetheless. At this point I was firmly riding the high of my victory in battle. And because I didn't really plan further ahead than just killing the dragon, I was unprepared to go deeper into the end. But at that point I didn't think. I just wanted to get an elytra from the end, and I figured it would be a walk in the park. I mean, I just killed the dragon, what could stop me? After locating the portal to the End Islands, I gathered some moon cheese and I towered up to the portal. I yeeted my last pearl in, and after I landed on the edge of a tiny island, I kinda realized I was screwed. I brought only 20 blocks. I had a tiny island below me and the tiny one I was standing on. I might be able to reach the island below me, but then I would be too low to get anywhere. The realization of what I'd done slowly started to set in. I had to look around with the free cam mod and thought maybe if I mined some blocks off the edge of my little island and I used those to bridge over. So I mined away a few blocks, but they fell into the void. So I took a little more risk and I stood almost right on top. And the moment I mined them away, I pressed forward to try and pick them up. This is when disaster struck. I mined away a block and I noticed too late I was standing on it. I slowly drifted down. I was stunned for a few seconds. How could this happen now? I mean, I just beat the dragon. I pressed escape and I tried to think of something to save my game. I mean, anything that would help. But there wasn't anything I could do. Not in those mere seconds I had left to live. So I let go and embraced the fact that I wouldn't be able to finish my first 100 days in hardcore Minecraft.